Hey guys, Phopos here, and today we're going to be taking a look into Trundle. Trundle is what I would describe as a duelist who scales into a disruptive anti-carry tank for his team. His abilities are insane in small skirmishes, and easily allow him to fight two foes at the same time with a good use of Subjugate. This guide will go off the assumption that you understand what Trundle's abilities do, so if you're new to the champion, there is a link in the description, go read up on him on the wiki. Now finally, before we get into this, here are a few timestamps in case only a specific part of the video interests you. So let's begin with his runes. For Trundle, I have 3 rune pages currently set up. I take this first page when I'm against a team with triple AD, in example Renekton top, Zed mid, and Riven in the jungle. As you can see, this page takes attack damage marks, armor seals, magic resistance per level blues, and lifesteal quintessences. The lifesteal quint scale well with Trundle's frozen domain as it grants him increased healing, and alongside his passive, he is offered a lot of sustain for his lane phase. My next page is what I would recommend to take either against an AP top such as Vladimir or a champion who deals mixed damage such as Aurelia. The only difference in this page is flat magic resistance glyphs as opposed to per level. And my final page for Trundle is a page that swaps out the lifesteal for movement speed. The purpose of this page is to aid with being kited by a ranged opponent such as Teemo or Jace. Now let's take a look at the mastery pages I recommend for Trundle. Taking 9 points in the offensive tree I feel is a must as the armor penetration scales well with Blade the Rune King. 21 points in the defensive tree is also the logical choice as you're going to be taking a ton of damage for your team. The only alterations I make to this page is when I'm against a triple AD team, here I'll simply opt out of the magic resistance. When itemizing Trundle you have a lot of build paths open to you, so let's first discuss his core items. Blade the Rune King is a must on Trundle as he is auto attack reliant to deal damage. The passive on this item also scales incredibly well with Frozen Domain due to the insane attack speed steroid and increased healing. You're also going to need an Icy proc, so either build Trinity Force, Frozen Mallet or Iceborne Gauntlets depending on the context of the game you're in. Without this slow you'll have trouble sticking to some targets. Also you should be trying to keep the enemy within your Frozen Domain for as long as possible as this is where you are strongest and the Icy procs aid with that. And his third and final core item is obviously boots. Pick up either Mercury Treads, Ninja Tabbies or Boots of Swiftness depending on the enemy champions you'll be dealing with. After these 3 items you should look for either resistances, on-hit items or cooldown reductions as these scale best with Trundle. Spirit Visage, Frozen Heart and Witsend are all great items for Trundle. Don't forget that from here you can build straight for tankiness if you feel the need. In example the enemy AD carry is beyond threat, feel free to pick up a Full Mail or Randuin's Omen. As a final note, if you're doing insanely well and need another item to increase your damage output, don't forget Last Whisper will scale with your Blade the Rune King. However, I'm yet to find myself in a scenario in which I can sacrifice tankiness for damage output. So finally, let's look at some tips and tricks of Trundle. Blade of the Rune King's active alongside Subjugate and Ignite offer huge nuke potential on a key target during the lane phase or a team fight. Don't forget that both Subjugate and Blade the Rune King heal Trundle, so try not to use them to open the fight unless you're sure they have no chance at winning the duel. Wait until dipping around at 60% health, then combine your Frozen Domain increased healing with a huge heal from Subjugate and the Blade the Rune King. Frozen Domain itself is one of the biggest area abilities in the game, if not the biggest, so make sure you position it correctly. Remember that it can be placed within terrain, so if a fight is going to take place around a corner, try to cover as much of the area as possible. Pillar of Ice offers great disruption, but don't be too quick to place it against certain enemies. It can interrupt channeled spells such as Katarina's Death Lotus and Karthus' Requiem. It can also be used defensively to peel an enemy off of your damage dealers. If a bruiser is stuck to your AD carry, a good pillar will help your teammate kite him. As for Subjugate, other than try to make sure you're studying your Frozen Domain before using it for an increased heal, remember it has 2 purposes. You can either choose to make a tank squishy by stealing 40% of their armor and magic resistances, or make a kill target become paper thin. Don't forget that you will lose out on tankiness if you steal Ahri's defensive stats compared to a Malphite late game, so choose wisely. And finally, remember to abuse Trundle's dance when possible, because it's the best dance in the game. I hope you enjoyed this guide for Trundle. If you did, feel free to check out the Reddit thread linked in the description and mention your own ideas on this awesome champion. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care guys.